My name is Richard French and I am here to tell you a relatively short tale. I hope you will indulge me as I tell you why I have spent more than 2 years looking into the claims that the Earth is flat, that the globe portrayed to me as a child through school, science, films and TV is not quite the proven fact that I once believed it to be. Not only that, but that we, collectively as individual peoples, as diverse nations and extraordinary species, have been lied to, are being lied to. And it is of grave concern to me that no one else cares as I do about this fact. Or so it seems to me. I must rant for a bit, and for that I apologise. But I must get this off my chest. Flat Earth, or the question thereof, in comparison to other lies told to the peoples of the world, is almost irrelevant. Irrelevant, I tell you. Many people have become so blinded by this question that they have just become mirror images of the puritanical ignorance that they decry those stuck in the lie system of being. Wake up! You have been glamorized. An ancient magician's trick used to bewitch your mind and your very senses. I can feel it. Feel it, you ask? What the fudge is he talking about? I'll tell you what I am talking about. King Cora, Rotherham, Hampstead, the Franklin cover-up, Tuam's 800. I am talking about Foundation X offering the UK government enough money to make your already tightly squeezed balls pop under the strain of corruption. I am talking about CNN, the BBC, the CIA and NATO, the UN and the EU, the Federal Reserve and the City of London. I am talking royalty and the Vatican, ruling families and ancient bloodlines. I am talking gold and silver, black and white, up and down, and nothing at all. I am talking about fiction and non-fiction, science fiction and science fact, fantasy and religion, beliefs and the facts. Actually, I'm not going to talk about all these things here and now. As much as I'd like to, others have already done it far better than I could. I would love to talk about cannabis, marijuana, the weed, hemp and cancer. As I began to type, I was angry as hell, indignant as a butt-naked emperor, nist as a pute that so few seem to care, that so few are speaking of these things, and those that do, that are, seem powerless, defenceless in the onslaught of ridiculous, inane, obnoxiously unprioritised bullshit that seeps from people's slavering jaws. What has happened? What is happening? Why? How? When did a story about a young lady finding a £20 note on the floor and subsequently being arrested, allegedly, and charged with theft, allegedly? Apparently finders keepers does not and has not ever applied, at least not since wackos got into power. Sorry, rank creeping back in. But I cannot help but feel frustrated, immensely so, at my inability to comprehend how 800 bodies being found in a septic tank is still not the most talked about subject. That many, if not most of the bodies were small children. That former VIPs from all over the Western world and world stage have been and continue to be posthumously exposed as perverts of the worst sort. And no one seems to care. People still continue to vote. That if you work and pay tax, fully 1/4 of your time and effort goes to help fund and hide these perverts. But we will all still go to work tomorrow. that money, paper money, is printed out of thin air, that banks fund criminals and terrorist organisations, and yet we will all still go to work, collect a benefit check, beg for help from those funded by this corrupt system. How can people, after hearing of the Inquisition, the corruption of missionaries, the perverts of Vaticanal power constantly being allowed to get away with it, how can you still believe in these things of perverted men? For my money, irony's great, hey? It is time to begin anew. Wash out all your dirty old linen thoroughly and throw out that holier-than-thou horse shit you and your families have been swimming in for centuries. For my penny, I see and hear nothing but creepy, empty platitudes, scared sheep awaiting a pastor to lead them. I would, seemingly, digress here briefly into the very reason I began to type today. Today is Sunday the 5th of March 2017. And just this morning I watched, for the first time, a YouTube video published on the 26th of June 2016. And yet the tale is much older. It is entitled Tuam and Ireland's Shame, an unedited interview with Catherine Corless. Hey, I see the CC, leave it alone. And as for it being Ireland's shame, check out Thomas Sheridan's opinion on collective shame. I can see both viewpoints. Can you? The YouTube channel is Arjen van der Horst, foreign correspondent. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. Arjen van der Horst. But that's how it's spelled. Arjen van der Horst, foreign correspondent. And that's Tuam and Ireland's Shame, an unedited interview with Catherine Corless. It is about the discovery of a mass grave. Please go check it out for yourself. But the point of my tale is this. My maternal grandparents were Irish. One from Wexford, my grandmother, I believe, and one from Sligo. Smack in between the two cities, the towns of Tuam, is Tuam. The tale of Tuam takes place around the early to mid-late 20th century, approximately the 1920s to 1960s-ish. My grandmother gave birth to an illegitimate child sometime around the 30s and 40s. From the account given in the above YouTube video, things would not have been easy for my gran. The thought arose when watching Catherine Corless was, is that why Nan left Ireland? It seems almost crazy to me that single mothers could have been treated in such a manner, but I do not doubt it. Did my gran flee, taking her small child away from certain doom in a religious convent looked after by supposed sex-starved nuns? And even if they were getting their jollies off, it wasn't in the same way as most normal people did, seemingly. How has this story gained so little traction? I did say 800 bodies were found, not 8, not even 80, but 8 fucking hundred. Children, for crying out loud. And do you know where the irony is for me, anyway? All this keeps happening in and around religious institutions, with and without the help of religious institutions, whichever is deemed necessary at the time. And do you know what my gran fled Ireland with, apart from my illegitimate uncle? A Jesus idol. Ha ha fucking ha. How can I be the only one who sees the sick and twisted nature these enclosed enclaves have become? I know I am not, it just feels that way. Priorities have become distorted, convoluted, fractured. What and how do you prioritise things by? Of what importance do you place one thing, one topic, above another? At what level do you place them? Is one higher than the other? One bigger or better? Today I should have attended a birthday gathering for a nephew, and yet it is getting harder and harder for me to think of these days as something special. The glamour has been taken from me, and I can no longer enjoy these celebrations as I once did. And I do not know how to discourage others and their selfish desires for these celebratory days. How are they important when 800 bodies were found in a septic tank, and it happened within present lifetimes? My uncle, although we have lost contact in the last 8 or 9 years, will be in his early 70s. Tuam occurred during the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, possibly even the 70s. The Hampstead satanic ritual abuse claims happened this decade. But don't forget, Donald Trump is now president. Woo woo! Kim, who's asked that then, is pointing Kanye Puff Daddy. They gave out the wrong Oscar, for fuck's sake. Hello? There's a new Star Wars film coming. Really? Is the Hampstead case real? I don't know. But it seems more important to me than who's got a bigger arse at the moment. Do the Federal Reserve really operate the way YouTube tells me it does? I don't know, but it seems more important than Kanye's mental health. Is the Mandela effect real? Who gives a flying pig shit when the City of London, Washington, Columbia DC and the Vatican, being independent in and of themselves, ruling out over us all, seems to be far more important? And what about the flat earth? How is that more important than the slavish desires to oneself and others' desires be damned? Only those given to me, forced upon me since birth, are important, not the crap you dig up on the internet. Foolish boy. Don't you know Big Brother starts again soon? Did you not realise the Super Bowl was on? Conspiracy theories, what a joke. You have proof, you say? Who cares? I need a beer. Now where's that remote control? If the water is flat, as many are now claiming, prove it. Measure Loch Ness and tell me how level it is. Then measure the Irish Sea. Then the Pacific. How flat is the Pacific? Do you actually know, or are you just making a claim? Do you know the difference? Do you truly believe that not knowing the dimensions of this reality make any difference at all to how you behave while you are here? That knowing there is more would make you want to go there instead of here? So where would you go while children suffer in your wake? What will you miss in your cloud of dust as you scoot off to find greener pastures? Why for to clean up the mess when a new room can be found next door? Why be conservative in its truest sense when there is more to be had over yonder? Blind fools, wake up! Either people are suffering in the here and now, or it really is all a lie. No one is suffering, and hey diddly do, a waltz in we will go. Or you open your eyes and ears and realise that many are suffering in one form or another, while you sit in comfort, planning your move to sunnier climes. While people are dehoused for profit, we will watch each other bicker. While people are legally sanctioned, the words used legally against them in a manner twisted beyond the recognition of plain speaking, we shall sit and stoically defend the 10 points we have in our favour. While those with centuries of ideas backed up by books, numbers and words most convincingly lord about in their clean white coats, happily collecting paychecks, pensions and tenures, we shall sit in comfort before our laptops, rubbing our own hands gleefully, solitarily, in the knowledge of our own true, independently found truth. The earth may well be flat, but who cares except us?